Malevolent Movies presents The Hunt for Bad October. Ryan has selected Sledgehammer.
Hey, all right, everybody. Welcome to Malevolent Movies presents The Hunt for Bad October, our continuing quest to find the best of the worst horror movies that are out there. And tonight, I'm very excited. Very special night because tonight is my pick. And it is a movie that has grown to be very close to my heart over the last 2 weeks since I've watched it so many times. My movie is from 1983, Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer. Yeah.
Not to be confused with the TV show from the 80s as well, because if you do a Google search, you have to make sure to put in, to find any info, you got to put in 1983 movie. Otherwise, you're going to get just nothing but screenshots and blogs about the TV show from the 80s. But
why didn't we watch that?
I don't know which one's better, man. I don't know. I think my movie there, the movie I picked is more memorable. But anyway, my keywords were ghost and revenge. And luckily, I think I stumbled upon something that satisfies both requirements and satisfies my need to watch the worst fucking trash that exists in the world. Because that's something I've done since childhood. I love really, really, really bad movies. And I think I found one. But we'll let the fellas judge as we go on. I can't wait to hear what people's...
No, you hit the nail on the head.
Yep, hit with a fucking sledgehammer in slow motion. You did it. Can you tell by our very subtle enthusiasm? Oh, man. Now, okay, so the movie... I don't even know if we've even been doing this, but do we even go over the synopsis, like the actual IMDb synopsis before we just launch into these movies?
We're
just going. We should probably do that for this one. Okay, so here's the synopsis. A young boy murders his mother and her lover with a hammer. 10 years later, a wave of teenage murders plagues the same era. You know what? I won't disagree with that, except they were definitely in their 40s. The murders that happened later.
Well, and it wasn't really even a wave. It was like a mild trickle.
It was a couple of kids get killed.
It was like a puddle.
And we're not even sure the boy did it.
So, but anyways, Sledgehammer is... It's certainly it is a relic of a bygone era.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's
like a time machine. It's like stepping into 1983.
Yeah.
In a way that I've never really seen it before,
or wanted to,
or cared to do so. I feel like a lot of this is probably improvised.
The first thing that popped out about it when I found it online was that it gets all this credit for being the second.
All right. So we're back after technical difficulties.
Yeah, it was fucking Sledgehammer.
Ryan, why don't you just get this show on the road? Get the Sledgehammer in the hands of a giant.
A fucking huge dude. All right, so yes, Sledgehammer. We open up real hot on the title card, which is Sledgehammer. Now, it looks like it was actually made by somebody, like it's a sculpture. Like they just videotaped some sort of sculpture with like a black background because it's dripping blood. Like it looks like somebody's dripping blood.
It looks like motor oil.
Yeah, it's very, it's trash.
Sledgehammer.
Yeah. And we hold on this. We hold on this title, this sculpture of the drippy oil sledgehammer.
Get used to hearing "hold on this."
Yeah, that's going to be a theme of this movie.
For 19 seconds. I counted every fucking second of all of these long shots during my parts. So for 19 seconds, we see the title card, Sledgehammer, until a sledgehammer, in fact, comes down and smashes the title card to let us know that it's not fucking around. We're going to see some sledging. We're going to see some hammering and some sledging in this movie.
I was very disappointed that at the end of the movie, we didn't get like a break the fourth wall Sledgehammer TV break.
Yes.
Like,
he's coming for you.
Is the killer still here? And then all of a sudden, whop, and then the screen shatters and the credits roll.
Yeah, that's how Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 ends. It's like the knife coming at you, and then it freezes, right where... But I don't think the director was... there wasn't a lot of ambition involved with the making of Sledgehammer.
They may have been a little coked up. Nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, we get that title card, 19 seconds, boom, Sledgehammer comes down, explodes the title, and then we get an opening credit sequence, which is this very of the time red filter effect over a bunch of faces that we can't really make out, and we get the credits, and it's got this generic synth score. Maybe it wasn't generic for the time, but we get this synth score, this John Carpenter knockoff droning kind of piano synth thing.
A lot of the music in the film reminded me of Creepshow, which came out a year before this, so maybe they were kind of cribbing off of that. I don't know. Creepshow was 82, this was 83, so maybe they took some inspiration from that.
So then credits end, and we fade into an establishing shot of this house, kind of in the middle of nowhere in California. And again, we hold on this shot for a total of 28 seconds. 28 seconds.
Really? It was only 28?
It was only 28 seconds. Before.
I would have guessed it was 6 minutes.
It feels like
and nothing happens.
Nothing, yeah.
Nothing happens.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I've got the movie playing in the background right now, and I can't tell if it keeps freezing or if this is just the point that they decided to freeze the movie, for effect.
Yes.
And that is the key to Sledgehammer.
If it weren't for the VHS artifacting, flying all over the screen, you would never know if it was moving.
Yeah.
And so finally, after an excruciating 28 seconds, we hear some audio. We hear a woman is arguing with what sounds like a child. Eventually, we find out the camera cuts into a room, and it is indeed a woman wearing a negligee in a very sparsely decorated room, is having a out-and-out screaming match with a child. Now, their dialogue overlaps each other. Another thing that's going to happen throughout Sledgehammer, where it's hard to tell what's being said by each cast member because they're just talking all over each other.
Kind of like this podcast.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Cribbing from
Stop
Sledgehammer.
killing comedy, boy.
That's enough.
So it's a woman screaming at this little child. This child's probably 9-10 years old. Get in that closet. Getting the kid screaming back, I don't want to get in the closet. Well, the woman wins, presumably his mother. She shoves him in the closet.
You get back in that closet. I gotta go fuck this stranger.
Mom, I don't want to get in the closet.
So this touches on my number one grievance with this movie. The location that we see on the exterior is like some sort of cabin barn style thing. Mm-hmm. You get in there and it looks like a fairly normal home. Mm-hmm. So I don't believe that the interior, it comes from what we see of the exterior.
No.
But then also, why does the boy have to go in a closet when in about 10 minutes we're going to learn that this home has an infinite number of hallways and rooms, all fucking white? So why couldn't that boy get a whole room to himself? You don't need to have 15 rooms to fuck in. You just need the one.
They just really fucking hate this kid.
I mean, yes, that is true.
Well, that, and perhaps maybe the kid has walked in on previous dalliances, and it's been real awkward because maybe the guy doesn't like to stop. And he's like, let the boy watch.
No, maybe.
God.
Yeah, the kid's a peeper.
You just painted a real bad picture here. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, though.
The kid's just laying on his belly on the floor trying to look in the crack in the door.
Well, I would normally say, Joe, shut the fuck up. But
I think he's
that comes back.
Yes.
Yeah.
I watched the movie. I know of the movie.
Joe knows all the perverted
you
stuff.
know from a different experience.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, Joe's never related to the opening of a movie more than Sledgehammer.
This is a peek into his mind.
Joseph Robert Buckley, you get in that closet. Oh, I don't want to.
Me and Pa are going to do it on the floor.
Now, Judeldine, you can let the boy watch. That's fine. You don't need to stay in the closet.
But what you were saying, Tyler, you're absolutely correct. They shot the movie. All the interiors were shot in the director's apartment. The director and the lead are brothers.
Apartment.
And it was their apartment.
Okay, I'll give him some credit. I legitimately thought that they just filmed at different locations so long as the walls were white. I never would have believed that was all one location. I can't remember what I called it in my notes. It was something like Purgatory. I just kept calling it Purgatory. Every time they were in a hallway or anywhere white, I thought I was going to go insane.
Yeah, I found an old interview with the killer, and that's where I got this info. He said that it was all the director's apartment, but the exterior was someplace in Simi Valley, California, where they just shot those couple of exterior shots. And the rest of the time was in the dude's house. This woman locks her son into a closet, and it is a 38-second slow motion of her locking the door and slowly backing away from the door and then leaving the room. 38 seconds of slow motion for that simple activity. Then we start to get a little more action. We start to get a little more story. The woman walks into another room where a man credited as simply Lover is is sitting in an easy chair. He's got a glass of champagne, maybe a glass of beer. And the woman, she's now gone from abusive mother mode to sexy seductress mode. And she starts saying stuff like, how do I look? Do you like what you see? And the lover...
Sexy enough for you?
Yeah, sexy enough for you. I believe
what she says.
And the lover says, she asks him, what do you think? And he says, what do I think? Damn. And you look good. And it is as slimy and as ridiculous and as over the top as that.
Well, it's supposed to be 1973, so...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That is true. And so the couple begin to talk, and that's where, through their dialogue, as they're kissing and canoodling, you find out that, yes, indeed, they are both cheating on their spouses, and they want to run away and start a new life with each other, but they're stuck with the pain-in-the-ass kid. And you also get a little bit of exposition to the rest of the movie in this dialogue, where the man, as the woman starts to go down on him,
starts sucking his chest hair like spaghetti.
She gives him licking his belly button.
She gives him a belly button job that's pretty steamy.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, that was upsetting.
It's like low main.
Oh, it's probably stuck in her teeth.
No, it was high main, because that was not where the dingus was.
I love an Audi. But
oh God,
less this
I can't wait to see the audience retention is going to be at this exact moment when it drops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so as she's giving him a belly button job, he mentions their location. He lets us know their complete location and all the things we need to know for the rest of the movie. He says, we're 50 miles away from any telephone, all alone in the country. So, okay, now we know they're secluded, cool. Which will come back to the rest of the movie.
Just you, me, and this sledgehammer over here.
That's right.
And she's like, ooh. She thought he was talking about his wiener, but he was indeed talking about a literal sledgehammer that ends up slamming into the back of his head. Somebody, we don't see who, we can presume maybe it's the child. Maybe it was somebody just wandering around 50 miles away from anywhere, just happened to walk into this house with a sledgehammer, and they bust the back of the dude's head wide open. You see some brain. Again, it's all slow motion, and there's a big Halloween-style stinger on the soundtrack. And then the man falls. The woman does the standard slasher thing. Oh, please don't kill me, all this. And it's all in slow motion. And then she is killed. It is, the shadow of the sledgehammer coming down a bunch of times on the wall and blood splattering the wall. We don't see who killed them. We can only presume. And then it dissolves to the countryside again by the house, and it says 10 years later.
By the way, was anybody pissed later on in the movie when they realized the first 8 minutes of the movie didn't have to be here because it shows up again later in the movie?
Yeah.
Like the whole movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can skip the first 8 minutes. They'll show it to you again. Yeah.
It'll still feel like the same length of time.
Exactly.
So let's see. Yeah, so it's 10 years later, and we see a van pull up to the house. Same house we saw from the first scene. And now we are introduced to our cast like a fucking tornado. The van door opens and they just explode out. They're all talking bullshit over each other, ripping on each other, making jokes about each other. It's hard to tell what the dialogue is. They're taking out.
Oh, they're literally spilling out of the van, throwing shit along with them. I thought it was like a circus car.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of clowns coming out. Because when we started like isolating them to get to know each character, I was like, where are the other 40 of you?
Yeah.
Like I remember like 80 people getting out of that van. It was I was disoriented. I thought I was high.
Yeah, I was waiting to see that they parked over a pothole and somebody had lifted up the pothole and was just crawling up through a floor hole in the floorboard just nonstop. The old,
a bunch of chuds coming through.
But so we're introduced to our cast real quick. It's 3 couples and 1 7th wheel. We've got Chuck and Joni, John and Mary, Jimmy and Carol, and Jimmy looks like Oates from Hall & Oates. And Joey, who's just along for the ride. Joey is, I guess, the trickster. He's the dork.
This was my description. A bunch of bodybuilder dads and Geraldo Rivera go on a camping trip.
See, I kept referring to him as Ben Stiller.
Okay, that's good, too.
Or White Goodman from Dodgeball.
Yeah.
Well, and also, what's with the naming convention here? We've got Joni, John, Jimmy, Joey, and then we've got Chuck and Carol, and then Mary. Like,
were those just names back then? Like they're just like
there was 8 names you could choose from. 4 guys, 4 girls.
The whole baby book.
Yeah. Like a lot of this feels like, I guess this kind of a person was just like, young once.
Yeah.
It sounds like how the dwarves in The Hobbit were named. You got Joni, Joey. They just named them so they rhyme.
I really wish the van driver would have done that, cutting them on his fingers, biffer, buffer, buffer, and Bilbo.
And then they go in there and they start just trashing the place. And they do. They do.
Yeah.
They do that exact
these are
thing.
the dwarves.
Yeah, this is just The Hobbit.
Yeah, we've got down that Sledgehammer is just an early remake of The Hobbit.
Damn.
Low budget.
We did it, guys.
And so, all these characters just come out, and it's just right away hollering and hooting, and it's mind numbing.
One guy keeps putting his beer on somebody's head.
Yeah, that's
Chuck.
Chuck.
What was that whole thing? What was the deal with Chuck putting his beer on that lady's head?
Oh yeah,
all the time.
Chuck does that later, and then hits her in the eye with it.
Yeah, and then at one point spills it in slow mo. Like, what the fuck? Why you put your beer on her head all the time?
Oh, and then there was one really weird shot where as they're getting out of the car and they're just throwing their shit on the ground, they just cut to like a stagnant shot, like of a tripod about 8 feet high, just pointed straight at the ground of their pile of crap as somebody throws a sleeping bag on it. It was just very odd. It was like, hey, we got to make sure we get that shot of all this stuff so that we know what they have.
Well, and someone does a somersault on it.
There's somebody does a stunt.
Oh,
one of the stunts in the movie is right there.
One of the stunts.
The one stunt.
He got paid $50 to do that.
I want to do somersault on stunt.
So they get out of that van, and they talk to the driver, and the driver speeds off, and he says something about
tuning up the van.
Did they hire this man to drive them there?
Well, he's like a butler.
Was he taking their van to fix it? Was he a mechanic?
Okay, so
what was his relationship?
He's a groundskeeper.
This is filmed 1982, let's say, okay? Now, there's only one person in this room that might be able to help us here, but I am not at all surprised at the concept that getting your car like an oil change was a weekend retreat. You had to drop it off, and then in a week you might hear back about your van being ready. So there was this great gentleman who has an awesome service where he picks you up, drops you off at a cabin resort, works on your van, picks you back up, and takes you home.
50 miles away.
Ryan,
50 miles away from any telephone.
I was a toddler when this would have been made, so I'm not really sure if that was the case at the time. But I will say that if you in his dialogue, he says this terrible line. I wrote it down verbatim. He says, "I'll have the transmission shifting gears better than a good woman on her honeymoon night."
Which means...
And then he backs out of scene and backs out of our lives.
Yeah. And we never see or hear of him again.
Lives too.
Somebody chartered that bus, or it was theirs.
It sounds like it's like if you went to the mechanic and he's like, "You got fucked up spark plugs. You like Wisconsin Dells?" And then like he drops you off there for the weekend, and then he goes fixes your car.
I'll be back for you. You don't know I'm coming. There's no phone. Bye.
Don't get murdered.
House is haunted.
Watch out for that little boy who's also a very tall man.
Don't phase through any doors now.
Yep.
See you later.
Don't wander into a scene.
Sometimes your friends might be frozen, but don't worry, they'll come back.
Yeah.
Just take things slow. Wink, wink.
I wish we would have gotten more of that character, because you could tell he was a lascivious, dirty old man, and he's got ridiculous one-liners, but we will never see this man again.
Here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
Where are we at, Ryan?
Let me see. I'm almost at the bottom of my page, which means I think I'm almost done with my bit.
We're like 3 minutes into this movie.
Transmission shifting gears, like a woman on a honeymoon.
Oh, we're going to play this whole podcast in slow motion.
Oh, good.
Almost the entire thing. It's better if you play it at like 0.5. So now we start to get a little bit of the characters breaking off, getting to know who they are. Chuck and Joni are lead characters. Chuck is a very masculine, very ripped bodybuilder, Southern California surfer type, blonde hair.
They're huge.
And no, I'm sorry. Joni is Chuck's younger brother in real life. They have the same fucking haircut, and she sounds like a boy pretending to be a girl.
Yeah, Joni is miscast.
Yeah,
time.
Especially as Chuck's girlfriend. And they have this dialogue in front of the house where Joni is unhappy about something. She wants to talk about something. And Chuck is like, "Hey, I don't want to talk about it. Just smile. Let's just have fun. We don't need to talk about it this weekend." We don't know what they're talking about. it's just there's a problem and Chuck doesn't want to deal with it. And what Chuck does, he talks around her in circles, and eventually he makes everything all better again by saying he's going to give her a noogie. And he pulls her shirt open and says, "Can I get a little sweet and low, please?" I don't know, understand it. I don't know if it was an in-joke amongst the. I don't get it.
That's how romance worked in 1983.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this movie.
She's okay with everything because of that.
But then doesn't he immediately say something like, "Hey,
pick up all the shit.
Yeah, can you pick up my shit for me?"
Later,
I got a little bit of beer.
I farted.
Yeah, that's when he hits her in the eyeball.
You're gonna stuff her into a locker later. Yeah, I don't buy that they are together. It's so strange.
No,
very awkward.
That was the most confusing thing about the movie, I think.
Well, because we later find out that their fight is about Joni. Wait, which is it? One of them wants to get married.
Chuck sounded like he proposed to her.
Yeah,
and then said, "Nah."
Engaged.
Because this feels like Chuck. Chuck shouldn't have been here this weekend. This is Chuck's side girl. He doesn't know any of these people, and all of a sudden he's thrust in the middle of a situation where he has to be the hero, I guess. I don't know what the fuck he's supposed to be. But this is a weekend he never wanted, and it definitely regrets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he was part of the entire spark plug situation where you guys will fix your car and we'll even give you a best friend for the weekend. And he'll be handsome and strong. And one of you lucky ladies gets to be with a jock for the weekend.
He is the mechanic's son. So Joni met him 30 minutes ago and immediately wanted to marry him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, "How you doing?" And she assumes they're engaged. He's
it's like the farmer's daughter situation.
So yeah, that's and that ends my opening scene. Oh, I should say also that right before that happens, one of the other characters, John.
Yeah.
Another big jock, dude.
Oh, bigger than Chuck.
He's mad.
Yeah. He's a big
heart.
with a huge forehead.
He looks like a high school
teacher. Says he's going to go look around, and they're like, "All right."
Oh, but hold on a second. After he's done looking around, he goes up to Mary, who's by the van getting stuff, and I'm saying it as it is. He literally grabs and lifts her by her vagina.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, he does.
Grab him by the pussy move.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
Yes. I've never seen a move like that in my life. And I'm going to attempt that tonight and shatter my pelvis and back.
You trying to lift yourself up?
Yeah, oh yeah. So a romantic song plays while the couple walk next to shrubs.
How long is that
shrubs
shot?
Again?
Shrubs.
Yeah.
Shrubs.
That's fine.
And then Chuck violently pulls on Joni's hair for fun.
He pulls on her hair?
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh, I don't remember that.
He's trying to see if it's a wig.
This fucking.
Oh my god, he does.
This shot. How long is this shot?
About a minute,
Too
probably.
long.
So was slow-mo a novelty at this point?
Oh, this is.
I mean, it was on the VHS camcorder.
This
so you
is
have
over
to use
2
the
minutes
button.
long. This is over 2 minutes long.
Over 2 minutes, a single shot.
And then at the end of it, Chuck rests the can of beer on her head, and it falls, and he goes to grab it and bats it right into her face.
Yep.
Chuck is terrible.
That's my theory. Is that these guys were shooting on video, so it gave them so much freedom that nobody had at the time. When you're shooting on film, you always had to, overcrank it if you're going to do slow motion. Well, these guys could be like, fuck it, we can do everything in post. And I think all that was done in post. They're just stretching it out because they were excited they had this thing. Yeah. Hey, we can do slow motion. Let's fucking do it a bunch.
That doesn't make it better, but that makes more sense.
No, yeah, it's still it was still bad choices all around.
I was surprised that there were so few characters. There's a lot of characters, but I feel like there's more people listed in the opening credits than are in the movie.
Yes.
Which was very confusing.
We'll get to the credit at the end. We'll get into I doubt you guys sat through the credits.
I did actually.
Well, there's some jokes. There's some goops in the credits.
There sure is.
So the man in the red shirt's going through piles of junk, and then
John?
I guess, sure.
John.
I don't know names in this movie.
I don't tell you. But then they pulls out the titular Sledgehammer and the screen freezes. So that scene ends like that.
So that scene ends like that.
Yeah.
There's not really much to go on in this movie.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you're very true. That is exactly what happened.
Well, because it's like they had an outline. It's like they came into this with an outline.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, so John's going to go look around the property because, hey, this is a spooky place, right? So we're going to set up some spooky stuff. And literally it's him just picking stuff up and throwing it.
He's looking through shit. There's like a dirty old mattress he's looking at.
Yeah.
Just picking things up, smelling it, throwing it down.
So the gang starts drinking and getting rowdy. And like basically they get incredibly drunk off of just about a beer each. And then the blue shirt man rips his can in half and mumbles.
Blue shirt man?
That's John. He just changed shirts.
That's John.
That's John, yeah.
Okay.
John changes. He puts on a jersey.
Okay.
What is this bit that Chuck does?
With
this
his mouth
weird
all
voice.
weird. Yeah.
He's doing Caddyshack. He's trying to be Bill Murray in Caddyshack.
See that?
Dude, his terrible impersonation of it.
I was gonna say, now that you say that, okay, but I did not catch that originally.
Yeah.
Yep. So then
Doofa.
one of them attempts to drink from a bottle, but then falls over backwards and pours some on himself.
Yeah, that's Chuck.
Yep. Then
dude, Chuck sucks.
Yeah,
I hate Chuck.
Jones licks a woman next to him and then becomes grossed out.
You mean Joey?
I get whoever.
You don't need to add more characters here, man.
We got a Jones character.
His girlfriend's face.
So, he licks somebody, becomes grossed out, and then steals a cowboy hat from his friend and then kisses him. And, the striped-shirted man messes with a fuse box.
Yeah, that gets confusing.
The good thing is they all wear the same clothes the rest of the movie.
I figured it out. Joey looks like if somebody skinned Ray Liotta today and draped it over a skeleton and then pulled it tight. That's what it is.
Yep.
That's the best description I think I've ever heard.
100%. Look at them eyebrows.
It's like Ray Liotta's skin.
I just watched the Hubie Halloween, and
oh my God,
Ray's in that, and Ray is looking tight.
They really clamped him.
That's why they never showed him from behind. All the clamps.
He's got a bunch of binder clips on his back. Oh my gosh. What's next, Joe?
So the leads go into another room, and we find out that he's been having second thoughts about marrying her.
Yeah.
Chuck and Joni.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because they're the leads in the film, they kind of last the
longest.
longest.
I would say so, yeah.
I don't disagree, but our audience is already confused.
Yeah. Chuck and Joni, the ones that don't fit together whatsoever. Chuck
with the same hair.
Chuck is like a Flash Gordon type. He's just very blonde and buff.
Joni's like a volleyball coach,
and they are apparently engaged to be married, and that's weird.
Betrothed.
Joe, did you miss the part where Joey, the striped shirt guy, takes a screwdriver to an electricity box in the wall?
I said that.
Yeah, it's been noted.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was there. I don't know
still
what
confused.
Well, because
it doesn't do anything.
He's going to pull pranks, right?
Right, but it doesn't.
Is that to set up that he's a prankster and that he's going to try to pull something?
I thought,
even though it doesn't make sense.
Later, when we see Joey in his prank room, he's got this thing on a dial.
Welcome to the prank house.
Yeah. I thought he was controlling like the lights and the audio with this thing.
Right.
That's why I thought he goes to the breaker box just to set that up.
But Tyler, have you ever tried plugging your stereo boombox into your circuit breaker in your house?
Oh, it's a mess.
And adjusting the speakers in your house your old farmhouse.
You can't do that anymore. Yeah, this ancient farmhouse that has
it doesn't work that way anymore.
Sonos set up everywhere.
The electricity was running on gas at that time.
What I'm getting at is that it was really dumb.
Yeah.
And largely pointless
Well,
that he didn't know it.
It felt like somebody in the production was like, hey, I've got this cool thing that I do at my house where I have my lights attached to this dial. Like, what if they did that to like make it seem like it was spooky?
That's fine, but he was only adjusting audio with that thing. So
is the scene where he's doing that the one where they're like candlelit?
That's the seance.
Yeah.
The scene.
Oh, for
the
some reason
scene.
I thought that you see, I'm adding in scenes. I thought that there was a scene where he actually adjusted the lights himself.
Oh, you wanted more of this movie?
Yeah, I'm trying to make it better.
No.
Yeah, well,
trying to connect dots that the director couldn't do.
Yeah, I want Ball Peen Hammer. That's what I want. The sequel.
There's so little. Tyler can't take a deep dive on this movie, so he's just making other scenes happen.
He started to with the purgatory thing.
Oh, that's true. See, I
thought to myself, that's not bad.
When Ryan said, I think I hit the marks with my keywords, I was like, well, it depends on your interpretation of this because I've got some thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% convinced on that, but. Yeah.
Well, because I'll just go ahead. I think that they might be in hell or something, or like halfway between life and death. Like this building doesn't exist in the real world.
Never mind. You can do a deep dive on this one. I like it. I like it. I agree with it.
Clear cut, it's a ghost.
But no way in hell was that intentional.
It ain't that kind of movie, kid.
Shut up, Harrison. You think the man in the van at the beginning, Tyler, was death? And that was the boat taking them across the river Styx? That van? Is that what you think happened?
Oh my gosh, Zach! Thank you for helping me this
Crack
time.
the case.
You've redeemed yourself from the Goonies font fiasco.
It's about time.
Where we at, Joe?
Well, the shirtless Jones plays a guitar, and then
Shirtless Jones. You keep saying Jones.
Leave it.
Oh, let it be.
It's not
It
Jones.
makes sense to me.
I don't.
I don't know any other names. So.
Because he's thinking Joni, and
Joni loves Chachi.
Well, yeah, the lead plays guitar, and then a killer cam lurks in the bush and
He
by
plays
a window.
guitar shirtless.
I
That's
think
important.
he's actually playing it at least.
No, yeah, he actually looks
I
legit.
was surprised. Like, oh, that's actual audio.
yeah, he's credited with the music.
Yeah. So that was a nice surprise. It's gone instantly, but that 5 seconds of oh look at that was pretty nice. That's kind of how I felt a lot during this movie.
You were just hoping there was an open mic
Just
10 minutes into the movie?
Nothing of note would happen for so long, and then there'd be a snippet of oh I like this, and then it's done.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was the scene. Just
Yeah.
That
Sure.
was it.
Next.
is that your end? Is that the end?
No, then the gang's having beer and dinner, and then the bearded man bets $5 that he can eat his whole sandwich without chewing.
Oh my gosh, and that was a wonderful looking sandwich.
The
It was so
sandwich
upsetting.
contest.
Did look good.
Watching him just cram it in his mouth.
I would love to
And
bite
I
that
don't like
sandwich.
lettuce, but that lettuce looked good and crisp on there.
It did.
It looked like it was
This
a good
is real
sandwich.
lettuce.
It was a good sandwich.
Yeah.
He crams it into his mouth like they all cram around this tiny little table.
Yeah. Like, look, he's just decimating
Well, he's
that
like
thing.
a snake. He can unhinge his jaw and just let the sandwich fall down
It
his
does
throat.
look painful.
He's like,
Yeah.
he's like the what's the guy, the Joey Chestnut hot dog guy,
Yeah.
or like Kobayashi just smashes it in his mouth.
So the lead dumps mustard in his girl's hair and rubs it in.
Yeah.
another
line.
another
So
great
he
move.
also-
Hey, I'm gonna pour this whole thing of mustard on my fiance's head.
He says, it's like I always say, what's a ham and cheese without a little mustard?
Without
How
a little
often does he
mustard.
say that? That it's like a thing that he always says.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
they're
he's
like,
wearing a
oh,
mustard
yeah,
colored
Joey's
shirt.
always, or Chuck's always saying that.
Well, Joni always calls him the ham. You know,
ham and mustard. That's us.
and he calls her the cheese.
I don't want to know what the mustard is.
But Joni, see,
He
she
always talks about his bologna hammock.
Joni gets rocked with something like a mayonnaise ball or something.
And she's fine with it.
Well, he spits it out. Well, that's the thing is he shoves it all in his mouth and then he pretends to explode like a zit, like that Animal House bit.
Yeah.
And then he spits it and it hits Joni and then she's like, "Oh, gross!" And that's what prompts.
Joni is just getting the shit kicked out of
I
her so
hope
far.
no one dumps a bottle of mustard on me.
goodness!
Oh my god! I'm getting mustard all over me.
You crazy boys.
And then it just turns into this massive food fight forever.
I hope you like a cream pie.
Yeah, and then she smashes the pie into his face, and then they proceed to waste all the food that they brought.
Yeah, and they just like shake up beers on each other.
Yeah.
They're
They
pouring like booze on each other.
They
Like,
could
what
be
the
there
fuck?
for months. They don't know if that guy's coming back. They just waste all their food.
Yeah.
Then they remember they're 50 miles from any phone.
I will say this lends some credence, I guess, to Tyler's purgatory. They just have an endless supply of food.
Yeah.
Their food just never diminishes.
But they can't eat any of it.
There is free. Yeah, there's
The only way you can eat it is to shove an entire
Well,
sandwich
they
in your
never
mouth.
get nourishment. They're
yeah.
never full.
You can
Just-
eat
yeah.
and eat, but you'll always be hungry. You can drink all the beer you want. You'll never get drunk. You'll never be thirsty.
Oh, what's that line from Pirates of the Caribbean?
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. You're in one. That was the trailer.
So yeah, then the lead climbs up on the table and gets a bowl on his head.
Like you do.
That's it for all my sins. That's
That's it
all.
for you. Okay.
Ooh, Trevor.
Okay. Let me get that out of me. I'm sorry. I apologize.
From that big sandwich.
Yeah. I just did that challenge here in the studio.
Big sandwich challenge.
Hey, I'm saying that could be an episode. We get Joe like 6 sandwiches.
Do you think on the 40th anniversary of the Sledgehammer release, Jimmy John's will do the big sandwich
Yeah,
challenge?
absolutely. Yeah. They'll be giving out cups, XL cups with like the Sledgehammer logo on
The
them.
Big John Sledgehammer.
That sounds like a Ryan and Brian bit.
Yeah.
It's an on location.
Get ready, 40 years since we were graced with Sledgehammer. Do you remember where you were the first time you saw it? Right, Brian. Roche, come on.
Get us through this, Trevor, please.
I'm all right, fellas. I'm trying. All right, so the ladies are all mustardy and gross, so they go into their shared room and they change. And they're talking about how these boys are a little too crazy. I wrote down couples Goldilocks sex schedule. One couple is having sex all the time, and she complains that maybe I need a little break. I'm exhausted. Then one is abstaining, I believe, for some reason. They never say why. They seem
Mary.
Yeah, believe they are both frustrated in this scenario.
Carol wants the dingus, can't get the dingus. John's trying to give Mary the dingus. Mary don't want the dingus.
Okay, that's gotcha. The boys have a similar scene where they talk about crushing puss, I believe.
Getting a throbber.
This is my favorite scene.
Yeah, getting a throbber.
I get a throbber, man.
They just kind of throw.
He got so horny.
Yeah.
Driving on the freeway because he saw a girl driving a car past him, and she was so hot he had to pull over and jerk off.
Well, there's one
sensible. You don't want to drive with a hard on.
Yeah, they cut.
His friends were like, "Yeah, boy."
Oh, the '80s were awful.
They cut between these two scenes like 2 or 3 times. And apparently they cut back to the ladies and say, "Oh, he's always joking around. Even in bed, he wears a mask." Well, how do you kiss him? Well, it's not on his face.
Where's the mask then?
So where is it? Is it on his dingle and his little penis is sticking out the mouth of the mask?
I don't understand.
Yeah.
I was hoping he's wearing the Groucho Marx glasses, nose, mustache thing
on his dangle. Yeah.
You'll bet your life.
I believe that one of the boys says she had a bag of tits. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I thought it said American. But maybe he did say bag of. Again, it's hard in Sledgehammer because they're just talking all over each other.
Oh, yeah. Somebody had a hard throbber while they're driving on the highway, and he cranked off right there in the fucking truck, I guess.
And then he looks his friend in the eye and says it felt good, too.
Ben Stiller's trying to leave, and Joey comes in and says, "Hey, we got to clean up our mess." And so Ben Stiller says, "Yeah, all right, yeah, I'll do that." But then Joey leaves to clean up the mess.
The old switcheroo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that scene just ends.
Yeah.
Then I have one of the gals one of the girls finally goes to take a shower, and there's very ominous music at this point in the movie. And this is one time there's no way in hell this is intentional. But this is one part where I felt like how fuzzy the picture was added to the movie, because it genuinely took me a little bit to realize that there was someone in the shower. Which I liked, and that's kind of the stuff I did like about this movie. Had to do with it looks so old and so just fuzzy, and it's kind of hard to make out, but that is good sometimes. And this was one of those times because it just helped with the suspense, and then it turns out it's just a goof. One of the boys, is it Chuck?
Joey.
Oh, it's Joey. Oh, okay, that's what he was.
Because I'm beginning to understand why Joey's single, is because he likes to pull pranks.
Sucks. He's just goofing the whole time. Oh, and then we see this beautiful shot of the Sledgehammer just sit there and then eventually disappear.
Well, and she gets like spooked by it at one point, doesn't she? She like sees it and is like, "Oh, why is there a sledgehammer here?"
Yeah.
And then like goes to shower anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's easily spooked by all tools.
Apparently.
Yeah, and then Ben Stiller goes back to his room, takes a drink of a beer, looks at it, and then throws it on the bed.
You see, now I'm getting more of a Jim Varney vibe.
Okay.
All right, Vern.
Know what I mean, Vern?
Where do you get a Jim Varney vibe from?
Oh, I wrote down, she sees the sledgehammer.
From Geraldo Rivera / Ben Stiller.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jim Varney from, what's that dramatic movie he was in?
Daddy and Them?
Yeah.
Bill Bob Thornton directed movie, yeah.
Yeah.
He's alcohol.
Yes, that's what I'm seeing.
So who is this woman? I have
Carol.
Her, Carol. I have her labeled as Mrs. Brady.
Yeah, playmate from 1968. I'm joking. I'm saying she's old.
Wow,
I would have believed
she's
it.
got incredible genes.
Yeah, I would have buy that.
I genuinely think she's over 40.
She seems to be the oldest of everyone here, definitely. And then we get
she was the mechanic's wife.
And then we get a single uninterrupted shot of the house for 30 entire seconds.
Oh, it's terrifying. I can see why they kept that.
And nothing happens. The audio fades up a little bit, and then almost like they went, "Oh shit!" They turned it back down.
Yeah, the music goes up and then down. It's exactly what it sounds like a live thing where they, whoops, shit, turn that down, and they just leave it.
And it's just that boom, 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 bo the, I don't even know what that is. Just the buzz of room tone.
There was a lot of buzz.
Just cranked all the way up.
It was like they added extra.
Yeah, it sounded like a fluorescent light bulb.
So whoever was doing the audio editing had like a bunch of really hot old bulbs that were just
yeah, just screaming the whole time, chugging. And then now that we're back inside after the 30-second establishing shot, Chuck stops the record that they're all listening to, and everyone freaks out. Oh, that was a good song. Put that back on.
Which was a Fisher-Price kids record player, by the way.
Little baby, little tiny baby.
I had that.
The good one probably.
They probably smashed it over Joey's head or some shit. Joey took a dump in it. He's holding a candle, trying to look real spooky, and says, "What is it? It's time for the real, or it's time to have some real fun." He says. The other guys goof about having an orgy, of course, because that's this movie's.
That's what boys do.
That's what this movie is all about. But he means a séance. Like, I don't want to be talking to ghosts and goblins. Hey, what is it? Pick on John Day? John says, because
John's got a real thin skin for being such a tough guy.
Yeah, no kidding. He's a
bitch.
He's a pushover. And then this is, I believe technically this is where my stop, my
You're getting off at the station.
Yeah, I'm done. It's time. Also, John can't pronounce seance for some reason. He calls it
that
scene.
Joke had to have been a written joke for someone who didn't know how seance was pronounced, because the seance is spelled like scene, but it's not pronounced like scene. So it doesn't make any sense that he's mishearing them as scene instead of seance. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like it was a written joke,
that's a
and
joke
they were like, "This is really good," because the guy who wrote it thought it was seance.
Because when he was in high school, somebody made fun of him a lot for saying it wrong in English class.
Yeah,
and he's held a grudge ever since.
It's a scene.
I'll get you back someday when I put in my major motion picture.
Okay, so the gang is all sequestered in this one room, and they're getting freaked out. And then Mouth starts to do what he does best. He starts making this like Italian accent, and starts to really piss off Mama Fratelli. And she doesn't like it, and
they gotta go to the bathroom.
So then she threatens to cut all their tongues out and feed them to him. Let's see. Data
Tyler's too tired to even realize what's happening.
He's paying attention.
I'm still on a diet, so all I've had is salad today. I'm fucking dying.
You're missing a goof. You're missing a good goof.
Yeah, so anyway, Mama Fratelli comes back with the glasses of water, but they're all brown.
I'm so lost right now. Who is Mama Fratelli in this situation?
Well, Mikey says he has to go to the bathroom.
Stop it! Is this a goof on me? Am I in purgatory where every episode is Goonies?
He really goes down to the basement to check the map.
Yeah, Did a man in a van drop you off at your house today?
Are you fucking me right now?
No, he's doing a very funny bit.
Yeah.
My
But
God.
then he stumbles upon a room where there's a man abusing a troubled monster that's held in chains.
Stop it! Stop it!
So then Mikey is spooked off, and the Fratellis kick them out of the building.
No, this is very good.
So then Mikey is trying to tell Brand what happened, but Brand doesn't believe him at all.
He doesn't.
Chunk just wants to go home to eat dinner.
Did you tell everybody you were doing this before you came here?
No.
Because everybody's so quiet. I was just like, okay,
what's wrong with that? Yeah,
Nick's calling people by the names of characters in the Goonies. All right, fine. This is a bit. But then it became very real.
Yeah.
And
Too
scary.
real. I did 5 pages of the Goonies.
Oh, my God.
Of the Goonies bits?
Well, yeah,
That's
from
fantastic.
31 minutes to 43 minutes.
Yeah, you did what happens. I get it. That's respectable.
Oh, yeah, that was a deep cut right there.
Great.
So then, Chunk breaks the water bottle, and
Oh my God,
they
you
find
son
the
of a
drain.
bitch! Did you not watch Sledgehammer?
Who would want to?
I don't know where I
Nick
was.
did extra homework for a bit, and I for one, I
That's a
applaud
good goof,
that.
Nick.
Yep.
I applaud good bits. You
Thank
committed.
you.
Okay.
It was a
Do
very
we have
good
to add
goof.
another award to the Hunt for Bad October Best Bit?
Most Goonies.
Best Goonies bit.
Gooniest member. Yeah.
Okay, so back to this movie.
How
damn
about
it.
Font Sniper? How about that? Nick can get that one.
Okay, so Flash Gordon, I don't got their names either. He starts by telling them that half of you probably know this story, but maybe some of you don't. So I'm going to tell the story anyway. So
but we're going to do
Why
the
don't you start
flashback
by
anyway.
telling us the broad strokes? What story?
So they are having the seance to tell the story and summon the spirits.
Is that how seances work? You tell the story of the spirit you're trying to talk to?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I would buy that, but not. No.
But anyway, yes, the seance has begun. He starts going into the story of this house, even though apparently everyone already knows it.
Yeah.
So he says it happens 10 years ago this month.
Which, okay,
If you're going
great.
to get that specific, go all the way, like today.
Yeah.
Right.
On
10
this
years
night.
ago, right now.
Yeah. It was a dark and stormy night.
Yeah. So
10 years ago.
Let's see. These two lovebirds, they run away and they go to this house together. They have an 8-year-old son, and they hate this kid. And so then we start to see the thing we saw in the opening of the movie, just slower and more sepia tone.
Yeah, more gray.
So we see it all again
Brown.
in case you missed it. Just that's how
Well,
they
in case
can,
you were out busy getting popcorn or snacks or something.
Yeah, if you missed the
trailers,
start of
missed
the
the
Came
feature.
in late, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Ryan, did this hit theaters?
No, that's one
Oh,
of its
damn.
other claim to fame is that it was the very first movie ever shot on video that was going to be strictly
Home
for
video.
the
Oh.
new
Okay.
home video market at the time.
Gotcha.
It's like the very
Ah,
first straight-to-video movie.
Now
Well, it
this
looks-
makes even
It
more
looks
sense.
like they edited it in camera. So,
I mean,
Yeah.
so one VHS copy straight to
that's the master. That's the archival copy.
So yeah, we see all the same stuff again. We linger on a shot of a door for 8 minutes. These two lovebirds plan to start a new life, which we already saw. We see everything we just saw. We don't need to
See
go
it
over it
again.
again, but I'll
When do they
describe
find
it.
the pirate ship?
That's a little bit later. That's
That comes a little bit
I
later.
can do the joke too.
Originally in the script, there was supposed to be a big octopus thing, but it got cut out for
That is
time.
a deep cut.
Yeah, slick shoes.
God.
I am dying over here.
Candles, guys.
Oh.
So we see that they were brutally murdered in this room, this one we're in right now, you guys. And they were just turned to mush by a hammerman, a mad
Hammer bro.
a
Mark
mad
Hammerman?
hammer madman. And they never found him, or they never found the boy, rather. So the little boy was locked in the closet. We were left to believe we are left to assume, you and I, the people who know the story, that he was taken by the killer. But the police just assume that he's dead.
They just
either
gave
way,
up searching the house, apparently. They never
Yeah,
opened
just-
that door?
Just quit.
The door with the lock on it
Yeah.
that shouldn't have one because it's a closet?
Yeah. Once we wrap this up, I have a lot of a long list of questions about the boy and what happened to him.
And throughout this tale, and this isn't Sledgehammer's fault because this is every horror movie ever, Chuck has an incredibly captivated audience.
Yeah.
There's no crosstalk for the first time in the movie. Nobody's asking questions. Everyone is just listening to Chuck. If any of you motherfuckers try to tell me some story about a boy who was trapped in a closet and then hammered his mom to death, I wouldn't listen to you for 5 fucking seconds. I'd ask for a sandwich, I'd cram it in my mouth, and I'd go to bed. It's just so upsetting. It's how they are like mannequins poised.
They don't even, they're so fixated, they don't even realize that the prankster gets up and leaves. Like, literally one of their group of 7 leaves, and they're like, they couldn't be bothered.
Well, you know what?
And the whole
I think this is a product of it being from the 80s. Nobody had their goddamn cell phones out looking at them the whole
Yeah.
time.
They look like those kids that are listening to Bilbo tell a story
attention
about the
span.
trolls. And they're like, turn them all to stone.
monstrous trolls.
Anyway, better
But this
movies.
is also the moment where the jokester is, for our benefit as we are the audience and we have the benefit of the camera, is he's looking sideways. He's looking at everybody like with shifty eyes, and then he's winking.
Yes,
So I guess he's supposed to be winking
repeatedly.
at Chuck,
Yeah, so we
but
know
it's
he's goofing.
so cringy and weird.
His
He looks like
eyes
one
are
of those
going-
clocks,
Yes,
those cat
like the cat
clocks
clock.
with the eyes going back and forth.
He looks
What
like
is he
when
doing?
E.T. hides in all the stuffed animals.
Well, because they're doing this panning shot where everybody's looking directly into the camera as if it's Chuck turning to look at each of them individually while holding a candle in front of himself. And while we're doing the pan, we see Joey doing that. But I'm guessing it's like Joey's like, the actor is like, hey, what do you want me to do? Oh, like, so you're about to pull some pranks. So why don't you look like you're gonna do something to these people? Why don't you act real shifty? And that was his best interpretation.
That's
of
what
that.
he does.
How does Ashton Kutcher, when Ashton Kutcher was in Punk'd, what did he look like backstage? And I know that this was like 15 years early, but that's what he's going for.
So what we learned from the story is that the husband of the wife who was hammered to death was the prime suspect, but no. So I wrote this in quotes because I couldn't tell what he says. It says he was the prime suspect, so no charges were brought against him, no charges were brought against him, which one of those is just crazy. Like, he was the husband, so no charges were brought against him.
Well, it could be him. He's the husband. He loved her.
Yeah, he smashed her to bits, but, he was the husband, so
yeah,
what can we do?
That's the 70s.
So, yeah, that mushmouth audio of this movie kind of confuses here.
It's hard to tell.
So then Joey takes off and he slinks away. And Flash Gordon says, tonight we asked the spirits who killed them. He wants to know. So he says, rise spirits, walk among the living. And it looks like this works because the door lock that we've seen from the little boy, the closet he was trapped in, it unlocks itself. Or it just fades, dissolves into unlocked,
Yeah.
And then at this point, Joey, he is in the other room fiddling with knobs somehow attached to a PA system in the house through a cassette player, playing spooky pre-recorded messages that I can't tell which one of these pranksters recorded the audio, but it's like actually giving information. It's actual dialogue that they planned this out so far in advance. But that's going on.
And he keeps DK smashing the ground because he's so giddy with excitement about their prank.
He is having a blast. He is just cracking the fuck up. But as the fooling and the tomfoolery is going on, we see Hammerman coming down the stairs, just his boots and a hammer.
Those boots and hammer were made for walking.
They sure do.
Why are you laughing?
I don't know.
They sure do. I don't know. That got me.
And then Joey gets stabbed in the neck. Not hammered, but he gets stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
Against type for the hammer man.
It's weird to subvert expectations on your first kill.
Yeah.
But I kind of appreciated it. Like,
Which,
all right.
Leads to something, I don't know why I thought this was cool, because it's not, but he's stabbed through the neck, like all the way through, and he's being dragged by the long knife that is in his neck,
well,
like
it's
away.
A shish kebab.
That comes back a little bit earlier where he's hanging by that knife. I don't think that would work, but it was cool. It was something. They put effort into that.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
So then big man with the beard,
John.
Little John.
Yeah, Little John. I think he's the one who says to stop all this. And
well, he's a scaredy cat.
Yeah, he's freaked out.
He's almost peeing.
Well, they call him out in the recording. They say they were going to drink his blood.
Well, yeah, because they said, the spirit said, and only John will learn who killed him or something.
Yeah. So was that the voice of one of the people there? Because
they probably got their dad to do it.
They didn't recognize it? Was the guy in the van?
I assumed it was
captain?
Joey. I assumed it was Joey.
And the skipper?
It just, and it just doesn't matter that they don't recognize it.
Yeah. Well, he says...
John's not the smartest guy.
No, he's a big dummy. Also, these guys are perpetually drunk. They're constantly drinking.
Yeah. Well, that leads back into this, where they stop the seance and they go have a beer party.
Yeah.
Without Joey.
Yeah, where do they think Joey is in all this?
They don't care.
Taking a huge shit.
They're having a great party. They don't even notice he's gone.
Like, I can get the idea that, like, somebody goes off to go to the bathroom, you just make some sort of assumption. But I think usually, like, 15 minutes... somebody starts asking questions. Right. This is like cut to hour and a half later, and they're like 8 cans deep each.
There's 7 people in this house, and you were all doing one very specific weird thing, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, all right, yeah, we're done. Yeah, let's get some beers in us, and we're just gonna kind of sit around again. Where's Joey at?
Yeah. Well, and like they don't find out till later that this was orchestrated by Joey and Chuck, and so one would assume that the house is actually genuinely haunted, at this point, right? Like they're all under the assumption the house is haunted. They're like, time for beer charades. Fuck
I guess
Joey,
so, yeah.
wherever he is.
Maybe they knew what Chuck and Joey were up to, and they were just entertaining them. And everybody fucking hates Joey, so they were fine with him just being gone.
You know what?
That's probably it.
I'm not upset that he's not here.
I'm gonna go hide, you guys.
Joey is Chuck's friend only.
Oh, yes.
And Chuck,
Yeah.
Chuck doesn't like to go places without Joey because Chuck doesn't have a good time unless he's got his buddy there cracking the jokes that nobody else will say.
I get it.
So they poke fun at Beard Dad for being a scaredy wuss, and things get serious. And he's
Ass breath.
Yep.
Yeah.
You call me chicken?
He's gonna knock his lights out.
Yeah, knock his block off.
Penis breath.
Biff Tannen walks in.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, butthead? You guys doing a scene, butthead?
Get out of your ghost for me.
Okay.
Better change the oil.
Get back in the game, Nick.
I'm thinking about Back to the Future.
And then they push John into a giant thing of manure.
Yeah.
Doc, are you telling me that I'm back in 1958?
God damn it. Anyway, so he tells him it was all goof. Then they pour beer on Flash Gordon's head.
There is so much beer
Yeah.
pouring and like.
Well, it's hell. You can't taste it.
That's true. I'm with Tyler on this. This is purgatory or hell. This is some kind of dimension. That's the only way I can live with this movie if it's like that.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, during that little tickle fight, we see Hammer Boots waltzing down the hall. And a game of charades has broken out because it's the 80s.
No Game Boys.
Right. They play charades.
They
So
don't seem to have a TV in this house either.
forgive me.
Oh,
I
they
don't
do.
remember
They
her
do have a
name.
TV.
That's
It gets
right, they
broken
do.
later.
It's about to get smashed.
Yeah.
I just refer to her as Geraldo Rivera's woman, but she insists that they go upstairs.
Carol.
Mrs. Brady.
Yeah.
Blondie.
So she
The
insists
old
they go
one.
upstairs, and he says, "No, not now. I don't want to do it." But she,
I want to fuck.
she just wants to talk. But he doesn't want any of that funny business. No.
That's how I feel my hair looks now.
Yeah.
That big and mullety.
Yeah. Big veneer Varney.
That's right. Oh, that's me. It's like looking in a mirror.
So I kind of blanked out at this point, but she threatens to show everyone her breasts, and that's how she convinces him to go upstairs and talk.
Sure. Yeah.
She starts talking
Yeah, she
about
says,
something
well-
and starts pulling her shirt up, and he's like, no, ew, gross, And
I don't want everyone to
Well,
see your
let them
boobs.
I don't want to see
Let me-
tits.
I'll just go
Nobody
look at
else
them.
wants to see tits.
nasty
Why would you think
boobs.
anyone here likes tits? Look at John over there.
And that's it.
That's it for Nick.
They go upstairs and they
Have-
air
here
quotes
we go.
talk.
They
Yeah,
have
a little
the
conversation.
they have the weirdest sex scene.
Okay, so Jimmy and Carol get up from the group and head upstairs. Jimmy, almost sprinting down the hall, chugs his drink in the hope that he will get alcohol poisoning and die before he has sex with Carol. Joni grabs a drink and sits with John and Mary, and they wonder where's Chuck and Joey and Carol and Jimmy. Mary assumes they're helping Joey with a prank, but John likes to think Chuck and Joey are watching Jimmy and Carol have sex. So I wrote down this bit of dialogue between Joni, John, and Mary. Joni, he doesn't have to do that for his thrills. I see to that. Is that how you get yours, John? John to Mary, how else? Mary, you just wait. John, I've been waiting for 2 years. And then he turns to camera and rests his head on his hand and looks like a big pouty baby.
Oh, my girlfriend won't have sex with me.
Yeah, he turns into Sid Caesar all of a sudden. He's doing some bit from the Colgate Comedy Hour.
Okay, so Chuck, looking for Joey, finds the weird cable adjuster for the stereo and some blood.
And he's so calm about finding blood all over his missing friend's stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Joey's missing lots of blood.
Oh, dang.
Carol and Jimmy are in the bedroom, and she accuses him of acting funny. Carol flaunts a surprise, which it's like one of those white bags you'd put over like a dress or something. So I assume that there's like a nightie in there, but we never find out.
No, it's a blanket.
Yeah, I thought it was...
That was a surprise. She pulls out a blanket.
It's a giant, like, hotel-sized blanket. It's enormous.
It looks like down, maybe. It looks very plush and
That's their
and
fucking
comfortable.
blanket.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to...
Jimmy likes housewares. Let's just get that out of
That
the way.
gets
Jimmy
him
is
real
excited
hot
by
under the
frames
collar.
and bedposts.
What's the
and
thread count on
blankets.
this?
Well, so anyway,
is this for me to cover my butt? So you don't see my butt in this movie? Great.
I don't want anyone to see my butt, okay?
Yeah, I just want to lay on top of you motionless.
According to Carol, Jimmy is shaking like a leaf, but you would never know because he isn't.
No.
So she accuses him of being a virgin, but he insists that he's done it before. So whatever the director, writer,
this 45-year-old man.
Yes, and I wrote down 49-year-old Carol then kisses and lays on 38-year-old Jimmy.
Yeah.
But whatever the writer director wanted out of this, if it's supposed to imply that Jimmy is nervous because he is a virgin and he's overcompensating by saying that, I don't care. This guy seems like a heavily closeted homosexual man who's very uncomfortable by this woman forcing herself on him.
Yeah. I think that there's actually shit in the dialogue earlier that is played for a goof that references him being gay. And I was actually going to bring that up because I thought maybe I read into some subtext. Because at one point, like, there's something where someone's like, well, you aren't one of those, are you? And he's like, so what if I was? Or something along those lines. And it's
I hope he played it off just like that.
He probably did.
And I remember thinking that maybe that was supposed to be the thing, but then I also didn't know if they had, like, I don't know. I lost a lot of it in the dialogue.
I feel terrible for Jimmy, is my point.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not saying that Carol, like, he could have said no, and Carol might have backed off. But Carol is all in on this, and I think that maybe Jimmy felt the pressure of the other dudes in the house and was like, I've got to get this over with. Because the sex we are about to see
I don't even know if it's
the least sexy sex you'll ever see.
It's like that tantric sex. They just lay on top of each other for 42 hours like Sting would do.
It's very peculiar, I think is the word I would describe.
I think he just smashed his flaccid wiener on her belly button and thought that was sex.
That's good enough.
That's what it looks like happening.
It's like In the Room.
Well, and Carol was so embarrassed about this, about figuring out in this moment with a naked Jimmy kissing her chin that she's like, oh my God, he is gay. What do I do? And she freezes up, so they both go forward with nothing. But anyways, before we get to that point, Carol starts kissing Jimmy and they lay down. Camera starts wobbly floating down the hall in slow motion. We assume it's Sledgehammer on his way to kill them, but we also see Chuck still in his investigation state, trying to figure out what is this red substance. And he gets jump scared by Joni, who grabs his shoulder. Joni, this is what I wrote down, that Joni looks like Chuck's real life younger brother. They have the same hair.
Hey, Joni, will you spot me? It's chest day.
Yeah. Chuck is worried about Joey, but Joni isn't buying it. She thinks he's all about them pranks. So Chuck says, Joni, this is real blood. I don't know how or why, but I think Joey's been hurt. That's my Chuck.
Huh?
That's identical.
Yeah. I'll be honest, though, I was trying to do a Sylvester Stallone.
I thought did not come across. I thought Tommy was so.
So was he. So you're good.
This one's name's Cuff. This one's name's Link.
Joni suggests
Just make the meat.
I don't know how or why, but somebody's got nerd.
That's what Carol said to the one guy when he was trying to have sex. Just make the meat.
Yeah.
Just
make the meat. Come on, just make the meat.
What the fuck is happening? From Goonies to The Hobbit to fucking everything Stallone. Okay. So Joni suggests they tell the others about Joey, but Chuck agrees he should, but eventually agrees with Chuck that he should go look for him first. And that's when Joni suddenly realizes that Chuck is very concerned for his friend. And we freeze frame on Chuck's face, and he's just like, oh. Hard cut. Jimmy's side ass and pelvis.
Oh, yeah.
He is now, so basically imagine like a sandwich of a woman and a man, barely, they're like almost not touching. There's a nanometer of air between them, and there's a blanket draped over half of Jimmy's backside.
There's no crack, just the cheek.
Yes.
Is all you can see.
Yeah, so he's on top of Carol. They're kissing with little to no thrusting. They continue to kiss in slow motion, specifically not fucking. The door handle begins to turn in slow motion. And then we cut to a tight shot of Jimmy's ass, cheek, and thigh as the camera glides past them like the trench run in A New Hope. We see more of Jimmy on Carol, whose legs are closed so tight there's no way they are having sex. And then we hard cut to the bedroom door where Sledgehammer is peeking his face and translucent mask into the room. So I don't know, Ryan, is this like a beauty mask of some kind?
I'm sure it has a name. It's something that showed up in movies, specifically like the 70s and 80s all the time. I'm sure there's a name for it. I've seen it a million times.
Yeah.
I just don't know why a resurrected ghost of a kid would be wearing a mask.
Because it's Mama's mask. Whenever Mama would get ready for the man, she would wear it.
I think that's just
maybe that was John's mask.
I think that's just an off-the-shelf like costume, like Halloween costume
mask
thing you can get anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think that's like a special thing other than like.
I just figured it was like some like
it blends your makeup for you.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what Joe said, but I agree.
No, it blends your makeup for you. You put the mask on after you put your makeup on, and it blends everything into a nice mixture.
So, anyways, and now I can't get over Jimmy and Carol's sex, and now I think this feeds into the purgatory thing where Jimmy's experiencing the worst thing that could ever happen to him over and over and over. Yeah. Him having sex with a woman, he hates it. But anyways,
well, he smiles later on. He's smiling in bed.
We see more of because it's done.
Because he's done. He doesn't have to do it for another day or so.
Yeah,
I get it.
We see
doesn't all make it say it's clicking.
Joni. While Sledgehammer's peeking on Jimmy and Carol, Joni walks down the white halls of purgatory and opens a random door where she finds Joey standing upright somehow with the knife through his neck. He then falls into the hallway next to Joni.
Oh, yeah, they prop him up.
Bringing it back to Goonies, it's like when Chunk opens up the freezer for the ice cream.
Yes.
But it makes more sense because it's a stiff, literally frozen. Joey is a slippery prank boy. There's no way his body is holding him upright. So anyways, he falls into the hallway. She's screaming, she's upset, and then Chuck enters the scene and somehow does not see Joey's body. He's like, what's wrong, babe? And Joni's like, ah! And then Chuck's like, oh shit. And he like starts cradling her chest in between his giant bosom.
It gives her a knuckle sandwich for comfort.
So then in a confusing turn of events, Chuck's like, all right, Joni, you go find everybody, collect them, and bring them here, but don't tell them what happens. All right, we'll come back to that in a second. We cut back into the bedroom where Jimmy and Carol, who are looking into each other's eyes, somehow cannot see a 6'8" tall man wielding a sledgehammer 5 feet from the bed. We then cut back downstairs where Chuck is looking for everyone. I don't understand. I thought it was Joni's job, but Chuck is down there and he finds John and Mary. And he's like, oh, you guys, I can't even begin to tell you what the thing is that I just have seen. We go upstairs again, and Sledgehammer grabs Carol by the neck and shoulders-ish. He gently sits her upright and then gently turns her body until she dies. Technically, he snaps her neck, but it does not look like that at all. And then he lays her down nicely next to Jimmy, who Jimmy is like frozen in fear from the sex he just had and is like, oh, what's happening?
I thought maybe he was just sleepy.
Well, I put that. He eventually reacts and tries to get up, only to get hit by the sledgehammer. The shot dissolves into another shot. So we see this wide or medium shot of Jimmy getting up, looking sleepy. The sledgehammer comes into frame, connects with his chest, or so we think, dissolve, move camera slightly to the left, and then we cut to Jimmy in the same position, but now he's got a gaping wound in his chest, and he lays down to go back to sleep.
The permanent sleep.
Yeah.
All in slow motion.
Slow motion. Joni then screams, revealing she is in the room, and she runs away. Sledgehammer, in no hurry, follows her out. We then cut to another purgatory hallway shot where the camera angles to make it appear as if Sledgehammer is looming over Joni, like they're right neck and neck with each other. We cut back and forth from Joni running and then falling and crawling, and between shots of that and Sledgehammer's belly. So they set up a shot where Sledgehammer just walked towards the camera, but for some reason they cut to after his nipples are out of frame and it's just his gut. I mean, he's wearing a flannel, but it's like, I don't know why the fuck we're seeing this. Sledgehammer swings and misses after Joni hits the ground. She gets up and runs around the corner where she immediately runs into the Scooby-Doo gang. John is like, wait, what's back there? And so he walks around the corner and we see that there's nothing there. Sledgehammer is gone. But we see that the boy... we just cut to a shot. I don't know where this is. I guess he's watching the group or he's watching John, but we see the boy also wearing the translucent mask.
Same clothes.
Yeah, he's like looking down the hall at John or the group and then turns and exits the shot. But before he exits, he dissolves. Like he disappears. John finds Jimmy and Carol and then places Jimmy comfortably into the bed and tucks them both in.
Yeah, tampers with the crime scene.
Yeah. And then he finds Sledgehammer, and grabs it. Cut to... Wait, why is the...
He left it behind.
No, he didn't. He had it with him
before.
He had it with him because he tried to hit Joni. Whatever.
But then he put it back.
There's a lot of things that
he put it back.
Not going to make sense.
And does John at this point know anybody's been killed? I don't remember.
So he finds the sledgehammer after finding Jimmy and Carol's body.
Well, before finding their bodies, does he know that someone else? Because he's very calm. He's like, "Oh, buddy," and like, does he assume that's raspberry jam on his chest, or like he just picks him up, puts it back in the bed, and everything's fine? And then he also
went to Nam. John went to Nam. He's seen it.
Well, and later he also uses the line, "Some bastard tore them to pieces." I mean, hardly. I would say someone turned her slightly and then hit him in the chest
with a jar of jelly.
Yes.
So yeah, John puts them to sleep. Cut to everyone's back downstairs, and Chuck and Mary are consoling Joni. John walks in with a sledgehammer and explains Jimmy and Carol have been torn to pieces, as Zach has let us know, and he wants his ass. He wants the ass of the murderer.
It's the most tender part. That's
he
why.
He's getting it from Mary, so.
Oh, that's true. So if only John knew about Jimmy. Those two lovers could have been hitting it hard.
Mm-hmm.
So Chuck says, after John says they're torn to pieces, he wants his ass. Chuck says, "Yeah, I know. I want him too, but we need to figure out what the hell's going on. Calm down and figure out what we're going to do about it." John and Chuck argue about what to do about it. Mary jumps in. John shuts her down, tells her to shut it. Chuck and Mary continue to argue with John, but not hunting down Sledgehammer, which John wants to do. So Chuck asked John if he saw any kind of clue, which I'm beginning to realize it was like I unlocked a repressed memory of every fucking horror movie where somebody says, "Did you see any clues?" I don't know why that's a fucking thing. Like, clues for what? Like, who the murderer is? Like,
because
I
it's not going to help you.
Clue,
and it wouldn't help you knowing who the murderer is anyway.
Yes.
Like, if someone shows up in the house that's not in the 4 remaining friends, that's probably the murderer.
That's them.
You don't need clues.
Or it could be the kindly farmer.
The
Who
mechanic.
knows? Yeah.
So Chuck asks John if he sees any clues. And he says no. So Chuck says they should stay together in the living room until first light. Joni has a full-on panic attack and says they should leave. And I fucking agree.
Yeah.
Just fucking leave. Yeah. If anything, the best advantage that Sledgehammer has is the narrow hallways.
Yes.
And not knowing where to go, what room leads to where. So, Chuck grabs her from leaving, and he's like cradling her and hugs her with his massive stupidity and tells her to trust him. So John isn't happy about Chuck's idea either, but relents and begrudgingly decides to follow Chuck's stupid idea. John says, "But if anything else happens, we hunt this sucker down and tear his head off." And then Chuck, almost looking at the camera, says, "Damn right we do."
Yep.
And then freeze frame.
I want you to go over all the dialogue in this movie with like an ADR with your version of Chuck's voice.
It's going to be the voice for everything.
I also really like that when Joni starts having her panic attack, Chuck looks at her and goes, "Joni, what's wrong?" Like,
"What's wrong, Joni?" He's shaking the shit out of her. But anyways, we freeze frame on Chuck's face after he says those famous words, and I'm done.
All right. So now they're pooped. Lots happened. They got to take a nap, and little John, he's first watch. So he's sitting there. He's got the hammer in his hand, and he falls asleep. And then when he wakes up, the hammer's gone. I don't know where that could have gone.
Oh my God.
But then he decides, to hell with the plan. He's going to go look for this bastard. This bastard who mulched his friends, who pulped them. He's going to find him and he's going to kill him. He's going to get his ass. So he goes upstairs. He checks every room in the house. And he goes upstairs to the door. Okay, no. He goes and sees the boy. Sorry, I forgot that he gets a scimitar from the fucking sink. Because he gets this huge knife out of the sink. And he sees the boy and chases the boy. And the boy goes into a room, shuts the door, then teleports little John into the room.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Why? they didn't have the ability to make it look good. Why didn't they have him go in the room and pull the door shut?
Because each room is a different circle of hell.
Yes. See, I took this as their attempt to make it look like he opens the door, walks through it, and then comes out that same door and is confused.
Oh.
Like he got turned around because of purgatory magic or something.
Oh, yeah, ghost force.
Yeah, sure. Whatever the hell you want to call it. But they just couldn't really get it
I figured,
right.
I figured it's more like in a video game when you go up to a door and press B, and then you're just seeing the transition of like you,
like the Resident Evil games.
Yeah. Like you see like the
you
actual,
freeze it fades to black, and it fades
and
up,
now
and you're in a
the,
different room.
You're in the boss room.
Yeah.
John got so sick and tired of entering and exiting the same rooms that he refused to turn the doorknob. Just like Wesley Snipes refused to open his eyes in Blade.
Oh my god!
And so the director's like, "Fine, fuck it, we'll do it in post."
Sounds like something we would do.
Yeah.
I'm also glad you mentioned doorknobs, because Little John goes to open a door, the door, which we can believe hasn't been opened in 10 years because there's cobwebs all over it. And he reaches for it, and he's opening it, and then he's still opening it, and it takes him a very long time to open it. And inside is just like, it's a skull, a human skull on the ground.
Child bone.
Yeah,
and
it's
some
supposed
blood.
to be the boy.
Explain yourself, Ryan.
Yeah.
What? I have no fucking idea. That's why I love Sledgehammer. It's inept in every way to the point of absurdity. I don't understand it. I've thought about it long and hard. So either the kid was left in there, forever. The cops never checked, and he just died.
Then where are the rest of the bones?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. His body would still be there.
You're missing something very important, though, because we have to assume that this little boy is the grown giant man that's clobbering everyone with a sledgehammer.
Yes.
But he would have had to have gotten out of the door to clobber his mom and her lover to death.
Yeah.
So did he die in like that 3 minutes where he was left alone in there and turn into a giant spirit and come out and clobber them and decide he was a sledgehammer man?
We may never know.
I think I got
that's
it.
That's what I mean. I have no idea.
The only way for it to make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
The only way for it to make any sense for him to have killed his mom is if he died somehow in the 3 minutes that she locked him in there. But that doesn't explain why he grew up into a 10-foot tall
man.
monster.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
Joe thinks he's cracked this. Joe, don't disappoint us.
Yeah, so what
Lay
it is a random person came in there and killed the lover and the mom. The boy died in the closet, but then much like Jason Voorhees, who died in the lake and then became a grown man killer, he has come back and used the sledgehammer to kill like his hero did, who killed his abusive mother and lover.
Right.
Okay.
But also,
that's what they say in the seance. That's part of the seance.
It's very obvious that whoever, if it's a boy and his big pal, if it's the little boy transforms into a big boy like in Ocarina of Time.
Oh yeah.
Hey, now we're talking.
If it's like that, then the only
I like Joe's idea.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
Some
what they set up.
random
They say
crazy
that the spirit of the boy stays there waiting to get revenge for his mother's death.
Right, but
anybody, it is basic. That's what it is. Friday 50 Part 2, basically.
As long as he's dead, because that's the only way it makes sense. Because he can teleport, he can disappear, all that stuff. It's a supernatural killer. But also it can't be the little boy because you don't grow like 30 years in 10 years.
And also, the big sledgehammer man, he is very well fed because his second chin is ducking out from underneath his mask the whole time, every time they do that horrible low angle. So this big man can't be the boy whose skull is there. It just doesn't make sense. And why is there a skull here?
Harry Potter, the boy whose skull is there.
Where are the rest of the bones? That's what I want to know.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I've thought about it. I've watched this movie 4 times, and I've tried to find things.
4 times, Ryan?
My theory is that I don't know if the boy died in the closet. I know the killer is a fucking ghost. I know that. It's the same clothes. He disappears, reappears. He uses magic to open the doors and shit later on when Joni's running. But I don't know if the boy died in the closet or if the boy was killed by the killer. Maybe whoever walked into the house and killed the parents also killed the boy. but that the boy's spirit lingers. But why would there just be a skull and some blood? The blood would be dried up and gone. It doesn't make any sense. And that's part of for me, that's part of why I love shitty bad movies like this. It makes no fucking sense. I don't think
what's more interesting is the idea that like without the backstory, I like the idea that there is a mortal mage who is haunting a home using his magic to like confuse people so he can strike. And because, I mean, as we'll find out in a bit, the big hammer boy can be damaged to a degree, and he can be stabbed and he bleeds. But like, I just like the idea that it's a wizard. Can it just be a wizard stuck in purgatory?
At this point, I think it can be anything you want. I think when there's ineptitude in a movie to this level where you have to fill in the gaps, you might as well. Hey, if you like the idea of him being a wizard, might as well.
You stare into Sledgehammer, and Sledgehammer stares back.
Can we campaign Scream Factory to do a re-release of this film, like
we have
a 4K upscale, but we get them to change the name to the boy whose skull was there.
I don't think they'll do this video, but another boutique label put this out a couple years ago. So it wouldn't be totally unheard of. This movie has a lot more fans than I realized.
Did they remaster it?
I don't think so. I think there's some special features on there, interviews and shit, though. I'd like to see those.
Some answers.
Did they Lucas the film?
That's what I mean. I want to know what they were trying to go for.
Sledgehammer with walkie-talkies.
All right, so Little John turns around after finding the skull in the closet, and there's a table with the mom and the dad from the beginning of the movie. Or sorry, the mom and her lover. The woman and the lover. And the lover's holding a newspaper clipping that says like woman and lover found dead, boy not found. And there's also a star on the wall in blood. And I think what happened was they said, does anyone know how to make a pentagram? And someone said, oh, I do. And they didn't. And they accidentally made a star. That's the only reason that there'd be a star on the wall.
It's upside down and it's a little squished.
Yeah.
And then Detective John over here figures out it's the boy that's doing all this. And he looks over and there is the tall Sledgehammer man just smiling like a goober in the closet.
I'll be honest. I like the mask. I like the doopy face.
It's so doopy.
As much as that shot is awkward when Jimmy and Carol are having sex and we just see him, we hard cut to him like looking through the door with the peek. It's not scary.
It's unsettling.
It's unsettling. Like that's the way to describe it.
Uncanny.
Occasionally he looks like Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
He does. And he's unsettling. Then there's a good slow motion fight between Sledgehammer Man and Little John.
But he brought a knife to a hammer fight.
That's right. I was really hoping that we'd see another, because at this point I think we've only seen 2 Sledgehammer kills.
Jimmy and
the guy at the beginning.
The lover.
Oh yeah,
the lover. So we've seen
which
2.
We didn't even talk about that sequence of shots where you see the lover and from behind a sledgehammer come up and hit him, and then cut to the flimsiest dummy.
Yep. Yeah. Brains come out.
Yes. Yeah. And the hammer hits him in we see the shot from the back of the head, and it just is like boing.
Yeah, and he's like a little shiny.
He's not filled with any of that pesky blood.
No, not anymore. Got rid of that for him.
It was mostly
it just gets
skull.
in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had my head blood drained out just last week.
You thinking more clearly now?
So let's see. Little John gets a stab in on the Sledgehammer Man, and they both go down. And Little John's the Sledgehammer Man was fighting dirty because he like kneed him in the groin, and then like kneed him in the forehead. And Little John's allowed to get out now, but then he's walking real slow, like something happened. He's not feeling good because he got hit in the nards, like Wolfman in Monster Squad. Little John walks out into the cramped hallway. That's where the 3 remaining people are. Little John keels over, and he's got the knife in his back now.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
What a turn of events. And then Chuck doesn't have time to mourn because he's got blood in his eyes. He's ready to go, so he grabs the knife. But then what's the other one's name? She like intercepts the knife. Yeah, she like smacks it out of his hand and then grabs it off the ground to go kill the Sledgehammer Man. And like she runs in with no plan whatsoever, and she gets teleported inside the room in a different teleportation effect from earlier. Because now there's like a flash of red, and she's inside the room now. Which, again, I don't know why. The door was probably open in the first place, which means that the Sledgehammer Man shut the door to teleport her inside. We get in the room, so Chuck is just going apeshit on this door, which someone is clearly much smaller than him, is on the other side trying to keep it closed.
Well, and that, so does that fuel the purgatory idea? That whatever happens on the outside of the door, it doesn't matter. Like, we see the door opening like a clear foot.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's pitch black in there.
Yeah, if he knocks that off, it's just darkness.
It's a void.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, Tyler, I'm saying, this is the shit that I like. I love this.
He goes through and he's just on the other side of the door again. It all starts.
Yes.
It's like
purgatory.
It's like in Beetlejuice when they open that door and there's the sandworm.
Yes, it's like that.
Yes. And I can tell you this: the director did not get his
security deposit
back. Yeah.
No chance
Because
in hell.
when they do the reverse shot, when he's in, you see that there's a lot more damage on the outside of the door, and those shots, there's like big blood on there. So I don't know how many times they fucking clobbered that door before they got the shots they wanted. But
It reminded me of the scene in American Movie where they didn't score the cabinet properly.
Cabinet door.
Oh, they throw that dude.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I tried to put your head through that.
Exactly.
Oh man, I'm sorry. He starts punching it. His knuckles have skin hanging off him.
So Chuck finally gets through the door. He obliterates the door, damn near knocks it off its hinges, and the little boy is just stabbing away.
Yeah.
At the dead girl, just stabbing away. And I like that Chuck, he approaches the kid and tries to grab the knife from the sharp side, and then gets mad that it cut him.
And the kid looks like he's laughing. It's either the mask or the kid.
It's both. Yeah, he's just having a good time.
Chuck goes to threaten the kid who's laughing, and then the kid just slaps him like Ric Flair so hard in the side of the head. It's my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yeah,
this is when Sledgehammer had the opportunity to redeem itself completely
by punching that kid in the face
and just.
But
they fucking copped out. They couldn't just let me have. Even if the kid dissolves after he hits the ground, let me see that punch connect.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the kid he can't do it. It hurts him. The kid is like an unkillable NPC in a movie or in a video game because you can never kill the kid.
The kid's tired of this shit and he gets big and he's like, it's time to just end this.
Yep, his head transforms into the big guy's ass.
He says Shazam.
He turns into an obnoxious TV actor.
That's right.
And Chuck throws Joni out and shuts the door. He's going to take this fight. And then yet another opportunity to kill someone with a sledgehammer, and Sledgehammer Man just picks him up and bashes him against the wall.
Okay, but hold on. Go back. I am sick and tired of fucking horror movies doing this shit. I got on Stay Alive for it. I'm going to do it again. What is the fucking purpose when you both are laying right next to the door? Get up and get out. The fuck is this idea? No human in their right fucking mind, if that was a normal guy, he would shove Joni out the door, even if it meant that she fell down again and he stepped on her skull to leave. No fucking man is going to shut the door with him in the room with a fucking murderer. God fucking damn it. And Stay Alive. He shoves that woman in the tomb, shuts the door, and then holds the fucking rose out and wastes it on the fucking carriage. I'm off my soapbox. It would have been so much better if they did what I said, and then as soon as Chuck's outside the door and shuts it, he teleports back in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom.
Oh, that'd be good.
They try to get out, and they just end up coming back inside. They can't get out.
Also, now I'm kind of picturing the sledgehammer being sentient and floating around, and the big boy talks to it. I like the idea that it flies.
Like Yondu? He's just whistling
With
to
a full
it.
sledgehammer.
And there's your sequel. Now that he's killed people, Sledgehammer Ghost gets to go around, and that's his little buddy hanging out with him. It's a buddy comedy.
I need souls.
I like that.
Lots of them. Lots.
But then he has to stop real quick to piss on a tree. I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to bring it home rat-a-tat style. Here we go. Because here's where the action starts, baby. It's Sledgehammer.
It's starting at 1 hour and 10 minutes.
So we have a shot of the hallway, and we see Sledgehammer Man walking toward us down the hallway. His head is practically scraping the ceiling because the actor is so freakishly tall and the apartment is so small. It's a 25-second shot of him strutting. And on top of that, not only is it in slow motion, but the actor is also purposely trying to walk slow. You can see certain steps. He's like, well, he's paying attention to how slow he walks. It's fucking excruciating. Joni runs out. She finds Joey. Once again, the body that is used, this is like the fourth time that they've used his corpse. This time Joey is hanging dead by the knife in his neck. And as Nick pointed out earlier, it probably would not be strong enough to hold all of that. But in the world of Sledgehammer, man, it's fine. Joni does a long slow motion scream, as Sledgehammer likes to do. The killer finally gets up to her. She runs upstairs. She runs into a room. And in bed sheets being a common theme throughout Sledgehammer, she grabs a bed sheet and ties a knot with one end, then goes to the closet so in my mind, she was going to create some sort of repelling device, Rapunzel style, that she could crawl out the window, which there is a window, but it's got a curtain of some sort.
It's got like a bath
it's
towel
got some
on
real
it.
awkward, weird thing. So part of me wonders if there even is a window there. They just hung that to give.
Oh, I bet there's a window there, but it was probably noon. They didn't want the sunlight to get in.
Yeah, they were there shooting real quick on the director's lunch break, and so, but then and it shows her starting to take the other end to the closet. Then we cut away, and the killer finally gets to the room, and close-up shot on it.
30 minutes later.
Yeah, 1 hour, 1 hour and 22 minutes later, he gets to the room. It's a close-up shot on his hand, on the doorknob. Again, slow motion, pushes it open just a little bit, then takes his hand off of it, which makes you believe, like, well, I guess he's not going in after all. But no, he does. We go back into the room where Joni is, and he walks in. But where the fuck is Joni?
Maybe he just got bit by a spider on the doorknob.
Well, I was going to say,
that's it.
Is there any chance that there's a small tale being told here about a young boy who constantly, accidentally wants something to drink, needs something to eat, walks in on mom having sex with her affair partner, and like he always stops to think before he opens the door?
There could be something there. I mean, the evidence in the movie would hold weight. I don't think the director is.
I am just really trying to make up for Demon's Rook, guys. I embarrassed myself a lot.
Did you find the second Sledgehammer in this movie, Tyler?
Did you find the ninth demon?
I did. It's a real tall guy. Yeah.
All right, so where the fuck am I? All right, yeah. So Sledgehammer boy comes walking into the room.
knows?
Oh, where's Joni? Fuck you. Joni comes running up off screen somehow. I don't know where she was hiding. In slow motion. I really like this though. She hits him in the back of the knees, like right in the back of behind his knees. He falls to his knees. She's got a baseball bat, by the way. Then she starts beating the living shit out of him in slow motion. She gives him 5 hits, just one after the other. And then, he's down. He's kind of knocked out real quickly. She attempts to open that curtain thing. I don't know if it's glued to the wall.
She doesn't even attempt. She goes to it and turns around and sees him getting up.
Yeah, and of course, Hammerman is getting up. But Joni is now 100% in fight mode, and she, without hesitation, kicks Hammerman right in the balls. Just boom, right in the old nutsack. He falls down. Then...
do ghosts have balls?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's in most accounts, like in the 18th, 19th century hauntings.
Yep.
The giant balls.
That ghosts have balls?
Yeah. Well, that's ectoplasm is ejaculate.
Yeah, it's all slimy. It gets, like, cold in the area. Yeah.
Don't you remember in 13 Ghosts that all the ghosts died because of, like, extreme BDSM stuff? Mm-hmm. And they just had their tits out and their assholes open and their dicks out.
Yeah, their balls got stepped on to death.
Yep, and Monk just kept screaming about how filthy everything was.
Well, yeah, the balls are the only things you can see because they're always blue.
Jeez.
Anyway, let's see here. Joni runs. Okay, kicks killer in balls. All right, Joni runs.
She's running down the hallway.
She runs down the hallway. She tries all the doors. There's 15 doors, and it's like a fun house. She tries every door. They're all locked. Frank Gorshin and from Batman is behind each door laughing. They've all got question marks. So the killer Hammer boy walks out of the room. Joni is now in a new room. She's just running room to room. Instead of getting the fuck out of the house, she's just running room to room.
Exactly.
She goes into a new room, and there's an extension cord. And Joni, we didn't realize this, is like Mr. Wizard. She's incredible when it comes. She's like MacGyver. She grabs this fucking extension cord, ties it around the doorknob, plugs it in, has a hard time plugging it in. We linger on the shot of her trying to plug in the cord for a good 10 seconds. Then we get this like point of view shot of Sledgehammer Man walking down the stairs, intercut with her fucking around with this extension cord. And again, in Sledgehammer fashion, it is long and excruciating, and it's like, God, just get to the fucking thing. And then he gets to the door and he puts his hand on the doorknob, and lo and behold, he starts to get electrocuted. Because whatever she did by tying that extension cord to the doorknob, but she's also holding the extension cord as it's happening. So I guess she was grounded or something.
Well, and so are we. Apparently, ghosts are conductive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, if a baseball bat can hit him.
Is the sledgehammer a ghost too?
The sledgehammer.
It's kind of, it dissolves. It disappears.
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, you're right. It does dissolve. Okay.
It's one of his accessories.
Yeah. Boy, this was real silly.
So he gets electrocuted, makes his hand bleed and all this stuff, which is, he's a ghost, but he bleeds.
When did Nightmare on Elm Street come out?
84.
84.
Okay, so did this predate that?
It.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that
the date at the end of the movie is 84, but it was shot in 83.
Yeah, it's got a copyright of 84 at the end, so I don't know if that was. Fuck me. Where are we at?
I love
it. Turns into a new room extension cord. Yes, he's getting electrocuted.
She's in the kitchen.
Yeah, he gets electrocuted. But she runs out. She runs to the kitchen. We find out Sledge is still alive, and he's angry. He's frustrated, and he takes it out on the lone TV in the house, smashes this TV. It's a nice little explosion, real Sledgehammer right into the fucking thing. And Joni's in the kitchen. Joni tears through every cupboard, every drawer, looking for
What is she looking for?
She's looking for another scimitar.
Because why would you look anywhere but the
I don't know, maybe
drawers?
they got a gun in here somewhere.
But she doesn't even take her own advice and just fucking leave. Like,
yeah. Then she runs
did Ryan
away.
Die?
Oh, did we lose him?
a terrible.
God,
Are we in purgatory?
Wait, we lost you for a second.
Oh, shit me on my butt. What? I'm so sweaty right now. It's so hot.
She's in
She
the
gets
kitchen.
the butcher knife.
Yeah, she gets the butcher knife, slashes him.
So she grabs the cleave, puts it right into the fucker's clavicle. It doesn't phase him because he's a ghost. He pulls it out.
Whereas a nut shot would.
Yeah, well.
Well, yeah. I mean, ghosts can feel nut
Be
shots.
consistent here.
Okay, so now this is when she attempts to. She does this really shitty half-ass. They didn't even try to choreograph it. There was like no energy. She slips right by. Like he's standing in the doorway and he's a fucking Andre the Giant in this doorway, and she's still able to slip by him out the door. And he kind of half-assed tries to grab at her, and then it's like, whatever. It's garbage. It made me laugh.
But I will say that the leg sweep is delicious.
Yes. So, okay. Which reminds me, there's an early part in the movie, and we didn't hit on it. I don't know, but when John, one of my favorite things in the movie, when John throws the sledgehammer in frustration, it bounces back and hits. It's like a blooper. I watched it like 7 times. It's so good. All right. So so he gets by the killer. She's going to run into the same fucking room that she had just been in. With the rope and all that. So she's like, fuck it, I guess I'm just going to go in this room again, knowing full well that there's no escape. But before she can, Sledgehammer Man uses his powers to slam the door before she can get in there. Then he gets up to her, he swings the sledgehammer, misses her by 15 miles, but she still goes, whoops. And
I thought it looked good.
I mean, it's fun. And we think she's going to die. Sledgehammer Man's getting ready to, deliver his final blow. And then, boom, hero moment. Here comes Chuck without a shirt. He lost his shirt, got beat up last.
Hey, man, I'm going to pop your top off.
Go get some sweet and low. He shows up without his shirt, and there's a battle. There's a fight. He and Sledgehammer Man go at it. He does this. I searched Google to see if there was a term for this. But he does that thing where you clasp, both your hands.
Like you're an old-timey, mayoral candidate.
Yes.
Go watch any MMA or UFC fight. All the power comes from putting both your hands together and then just launching your upper torso at somebody.
Yeah, that's the Mayweather fight. That's how that got won.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So that's what Chuck does, and he just starts pummeling Sledgehammer Man. And we do get what I thought, for this movie anyway, was an interesting shot. We see the point of view of Sledgehammer Man as Chuck is beating his ass, but we're seeing his point of view through his mask, similar to Halloween, because you've got the eye holes.
Yeah.
And they choreograph his point of view with the hits. So Chuck hits him, and you see, it's, whoa, his head bobbles to the left. Chuck hits him, whoa, his head bobbles to the right. Which I wasn't expecting at a Sledgehammer. I wasn't expecting anything that, dynamic, I guess, to come out of
I thought he was going to poke him in the eyes like the Stooges. Boink, right there.
And I don't think the director was expecting them to break his bedroom door.
No,
probably not.
All right, so Pummel's kill the killer. Yeah, they battle pretty hard, and then Chuck gets a hold of the sledgehammer, and again we get another shot of the point of view shot. Now it's just with the sledgehammer. So Chuck's hitting him in the face with the sledgehammer. His head is going to and fro, and these are the final blows that presumably kill the sledgehammer man. He falls to the ground.
And he is coated in blood.
A lot of blood.
Yeah.
They used all the blood in their budget was used. They spattered a few here and there throughout the movie, but all of their blood budget went here. And he just lived there.
The ghost had more blood. The ghost had more blood than the lover at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, okay. So we're almost done. All right. So
Get us to the end. Because we still got to review this.
The killer's basically dead at this point. He's covered in blood. He slowly stops breathing, and Chuck and
a hammer to the face is one weakness.
Yeah, that's right.
He brings his kryptonite with him at all times.
You are a worthy adversary. You figured out.
That's all he was asking. He's just, can you kill me, please? Can you kill me, please?
So Chuck and Joni and Chuck go out the door, and no sooner do they get right out of the door. It's morning now. What Chuck will always wanted. Now, don't leave until dawn. He goes outside. The camera tilts up, and we see in the window, Ghost Boy is staring at them. He's now a little boy again, and he's just staring at them out the window. And then credits. I gave some highlights. One, the credits change speed throughout the credits. Here's some little jokes. That are thrown in during the credits. Special effects done by Blood and Guts.
That was a company name.
That's also in the beginning too.
The opening credits too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in that interview that I found of the actor who played the killer, he said that was a goof. He's like, we just did that. So there was no effects. They just thought it was funny to say Blood and Guts. Wardrobe assistant was by David Fuxit, spelled Fuchssit. Choreography done by IC Nunn, spelled KNUN. Location manager was Mike Hunt.
Where was this comedian when the script was getting written?
I don't know.
Yeah, no kidding.
There are multiple secretaries. One of them was named Jack Meoff. And finally, special sound effects by IP Freely. So,
hey, classic.
There you go. That's
the movie.
That's our story.
Oh, hey, I found a behind-the-scenes picture of Carol and Jimmy together.
Oh, look at that.
And they're still together today.
All right, here we go. Our ratings from Malevolent to Benevolent. I'll start with you, Nick.
I'm gonna go medium malevolent. It was mostly a slog for me. There's some stuff in there that I liked, I guess. I think I just more or less like the campiness of it and the weirdness of 80% of the movie being in slow motion. There's just something weird about that. Like, that's a perfect storm of its time and the technology of its time and the weird stuff. I like that atmosphere. I like how sleazy everyone looks. And I like the idea of, a bunch of bodybuilder dads going on a camping trip together and like having a food fight and doing weird shit like that. But beyond that, I'm puzzled. I'm frustrated. I am angry. And there wasn't really, too much groundbreaking stuff I can think of. So yeah, I'm pretty in the middle of malevolent territory, but I'm not leaving. Let's go with Joe.
Oh, all right. So I did not have a good time watching this at all.
Don't say, Joe.
No, I thought it was
Joe not liking movies. Joe hates movies.
I'm surprised you made it through this movie.
Oh yeah. No, this is a boring watch. This is an extremely boring watch. Basically. This really has nothing going for it. The only points I'll give it at all is just that it's obviously an extremely low budget movie made with nothing. But I mean, other than that, everything about it was terrible. So I'm going hard Malevolent.
Who's next, Joe?
I'll go for Zach. Yeah.
All right. I have to also go Malevolent. There was not enough Sledgehammer kills in a movie that prides itself on someone being part of or existing within the Sledgehammer.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That's interesting. Right, we gotta write that down.
Yeah, write that down quick for Sledgehammer 2. I only counted 3 kills, and that's including the TV. 3 Sledgehammer kills.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I mean, there's like a campiness to it that is fun. Like what Nick said. Like there's some goofiness. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense why they started a food fight, but it's funny and it's entertaining briefly. But I was like, my ADD, I was trying to get the hell out of there whenever they went into slow motion for another 8 to 10 minutes.
You were standing on your front porch with your door open, looking inside, just like, can I get out of here?
I literally had to watch this in 2 parts. I watched the first half earlier this morning, and then the second half like 3 hours later because I had to recharge. It's Malevolent, but like, it's not that I wouldn't put this on again while doing nothing. Like if I was like doing something else and I was like, oh fuck, Sledgehammer happens to be right where I am pointing at the remote right now, then yeah, I would watch it. But I will think of this movie every time I do construction or demolition the rest of my life.
All right.
Trevor, hit us.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you with a Sledgehammer. Yeah, this is definitely a Malevolent movie. There are things in it that I really liked. I had to step out. I had to go to the bathroom during part of this discussion. I think it was during the scene that I really liked. The shot that I really liked was when the camera was like his POV in the hallway and she's trying to run away. The way she's trying to run away is very silly and she's just slipping over herself. But there's something very creepy about how small the hallway is, how high up the camera is. You can't really see anything, and the end of the hall just kind of goes into darkness. And that is this kind of like weird aesthetic that this movie has that at first just seemed lazy and just like, well, not even lazy, but just we don't have a budget. We have to shoot this in an apartment. But it ended up kind of working. I really like, I never thought that I would like a bland apartment shot with a weird, very fuzzy video, but it worked. It worked because it didn't make any sense. It worked because it was this weird mishmash of, oh, they're like adults, but they're teens, and they're always drinking an endless supply of beer and food, and they're just always doing the same thing. It's always they're just slopping all over each other. But there's also 30-second establishing shots, and there's the whole scene of the two of them walking in slow motion, and nothing really happens, and the dialogue and acting is bad, and there's not enough Sledgehammer kills.
I would love to see a cut of this movie that's like 60 minutes.
Yeah, like
I legitimately thought halfway through I could probably do this at 2 times speed and be perfectly caught up.
Yeah, probably. To make a long story short, Malevolent. It's not the worst one. I would probably put this on again. But yeah, Malevolent. So who's left then? Would it be Tyler?
Me and Ryan.
Yeah, let's do you and finish with Ryan.
Yeah, so the critical consensus is Malevolent. I agree. I think the 3 movies for the Hunt for Bad October so far, Doll Factory, Demon's Work, and this, I think they all qualify as, you know what, watch it ahead of time and then watch it with some friends.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence, get some goofs in, and then get your buddies together and enjoy a good romp. But don't go in expecting something that it isn't. It's not going to knock your socks off, and it's also not going to be so bad that you're laughing your ass off the whole time. It requires some effort. And so steal our jokes if you have to. Just do Hobbit bits and Goonies bits. Who cares? I think Sledgehammer is worth it. It is I in the actual scoring that we'll do in the wrap up of the Hunt for Bad October series, I think you'll be surprised by some of the areas that Sledgehammer excelled in. It did very well in some areas that I don't think most people would expect, but make a lot of sense for people who have viewed it. It's not the worst movie ever. It just isn't, and it has the potential to be fun. But that's the thing. If we could go back and tell the director, "Hey, we can make this movie worse but better," hey, maybe he would have listened. I don't know, but I enjoy the purgatory bit. I enjoy the boy whose skull was there bit. I'm liking the jokes, and I came for Sledgehammer, but I stayed for the goofs. Oh. So yeah, soft Malevolent. I'm closer to the middle of the line than I am medium rare, but hey, I'm having a good time.
Well, good.
All right. Well, that just leaves me. How do I fucking give this a rating? It's like I thought about this earlier today.
Or how big is your throbber?
Yeah.
It's really hard.
It's pretty big. I fucking love Sledgehammer. I'm going to go ahead and say, but I don't love it as a movie. It's not a real movie.
An experience.
If you go in expecting what you would get from a movie, you're going to hate it. You're going to be bored. You're going to think it's dumb. You're not going to see the charm in it. And maybe you won't see the charm in it even if you're looking for a bad movie. But for me, it hits all the points I want when it comes to an exceptional bad movie, where it goes into places where I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand the filmmaking choices. And, sometimes it can just be a few seconds. Like those establishing shots go into this absurdist amount of time where I'm not sure if they're fucking with you at this point. And I don't think they were a Sledgehammer. I think it was just ineptitude. But it's one of those things where, like some of my favorite bad movies of all time, Howling New Moon Rising and Jacko, I've said a million times on here. These are, like Tyler said, I would have loved Sledgehammer even more had I been watching it with you guys in person or my old horror movie club. We would have loved every bit of it. But I don't know. It's a terrible movie. It's a fucking piece of shit. It's not a good movie. You know what I mean? I can't say it's a good movie. So if you're Joe Buckley going in expecting to see a movie like you did, no.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna hate it.
3 thumbs down.
It's not good. But if you are of a certain mindset and you're looking for a bad movie that
maybe
has
just like really high,
just weird fucking shit that
Joe has to take performance enhancing drugs in order to have a good time watching this.
Yeah,
he made a high joke, Ryan.
Oh, did he? I'm so glad he's so far away when on my headphones.
Hundreds of miles.
Yeah. Like under the sea.
He sounds like it. But so it's like I'm gonna have to fucking say Benevolent. But again, like I said, with the understanding that this is not a good movie. The other 2 movies, yes, go watch those as movies. You may not like them, but they're movies. They're legit. They're trying to entertain you. This is some fucking other. It feels like it came from a total alien. It doesn't feel real. These human beings don't feel like real people. It just it's this weird little corner of the world where this little movie was made and existed, and I didn't know about it for centuries, and now here it is.
Ryan found Stonehenge 2.
Yeah, this is something I know I will watch again and again when I need a quick laugh. I may not watch the whole movie, just little bits. The kid goes slapping the guy in the face, just little bits like that. To me, are absolute gold. And so I gotta say, Benevolent only if you're looking for something that is just ridiculously bad. But as a real movie, no, come on, Sledgehammer.
Zach, are you ready to debut your pick for the hunt for Bad October?
Oh, I'm excited.
I watched a lot of bad bug movies this week, guys. And I don't know if this is the best one, but this one's the closest to my category, which was I had bugs and I had high school horror. Now, finding the 2 of those together, very difficult. So I just went with school horror.
And I think that's fair.
I ended up in college with 2000.
I went to high school. I ended up in college.
I ended up with 2005's Insecticidal. Man. It is a doozy. It is not good. There's more CG bugs than I want, and I think it might be higher budget than I was aiming for, but it had the best variety of bugs. Damn. And if you like boobs, and I know you fellows like boobs, well, then you're going to like this movie.
I can't believe you found like an educational bug movie.
I'm excited. It's a sex ed / bug film strip that they'd show you in school.
Yeah, I want to learn all about the thorax.
One of these pictures that Zach shared with us is awfully pornographic looking.
Well, there's nothing wrong with
And wait
that.
till you see the scene, because you will want to vomit. It's
Joe's
pretty
like,
gross.
how's the proboscis throb?
Yeah. So we talking about like eggs here? We're laying eggs.
Just like an egg movie, or
You got eggs in this picture.
So enjoy Insecticidal.
Insecticide.
I look forward to seeing what you guys think about
Guys,
it.
we're over the hump, man.
Yeah.
Only 2 movies left.
This is crazy.
And now, is this movie available on any of the streaming sites?
I had to rent it, I believe, on Prime. I don't remember if I rented it or if it was a Prime video, like
freebie?
included with Prime.
I've got a
I don't
copy.
remember.
Joe was able to procure me one.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll drop that into Plex.
Oh no, it's included with Prime, I think. If you don't have Plex.
All right, so if you're listening, everybody, Insecticidal is available to stream. It's out there. You may have to drop down a couple of bones, but it's out there if you want to watch it before our episode. Insecticidal.
Watch along with us.
Yeah, and then make sure you check out our other content. We got The Man with No Brain. We got
It's free with Prime. Sorry.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nice.
Cool. But yeah, no, we got lots of other stuff coming up for you. So make sure you hit the bell. Make sure that way, because like if you don't hit the bell, YouTube will just say, "Hey, fuck you! You will. There is no way we're going to show you this content if you have not hit the bell. It's disappeared. It's gone into the ether.
It's disappeared into the asshole of YouTube.
My grandma Ether.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
It disappeared into her blouse.
Go watch one of our things or listen to us.
But inside track here, I'm the only person who knows the scores thus far. Guys, it is a tight race. It is between the 3 films so far. It is a tight race, and I don't think any one of you would agree on the top 3 places so far.
Sledgehammer's just coming in number 1.
I cannot say.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
an independent 6th party.
Yeah.
Who is also participating in scoring.
Well, sure, it's a little different. That's fine.
All right, guys, 2.5 hours. We did it again. We did it.
This is fun. Fine. We're all having a great time.
Our fans aren't.
Well, fuck them. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, Ryan and Brian, take us out.
Hey, but once again, that was a fantastic episode of Malevolent Movies Presents The Hunt for Bad October. Make sure that you stay tuned next week. Insecticidal's coming at you. Going to be a lot of thorax, a lot of proboscis, a lot of fun. Ryan and Brian.